Hello and welcome back to Lander98 channel. Today we are going to take a look at shortening and scaling a body to get it to fit on an RC chassis, or at least a chassis. Okay, so what am I getting at? Well, obviously there are two ways that you can that you can either scale a car. Well, actually no, I guess a better way to put it, you can either scale it to make it a 1-to-1 kind of like ratio, as we have right here, with everything else. Now, I don't know, it is actually difficult to know off the top of hand, but if you were to look at an RC car, even a Hot Wheels car, we'll use a Hot Wheels car for this, but if you were to look at the dimensions of it, the car might look perfectly fine. However, if you were to actually measure it and make it to scale, the height, the length, and the width probably are not the same scale by any means. Alright, so what does this mean? Well, we are going to scale this body right here, but we are going to scale it to fit a certain chassis instead of doing a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio. So, let's bring out our chassis that we're going to fit. So, we're going to import our chassis. It's a 94mm. This would be considered a medium-length RC car chassis, at least for the 1/28 scale. Actually, to mini-Zs, they might even be considered long. Okay, so as we can see here, this chassis template is 70mm wide. So we are going to do that. So we are sitting at 70mm wide. And as we can see, our scaling is 1.43. Now what happens if I make this all 1.43? Okay, not only is the body excessively long, it is also, well, no, it's just straight up excessively long. So we are going to adjust this, because we are not going to extend the chassis just to have this a 1-to-1-to-1. We are indeed going to shorten the body. So, what's the first initiative to do? Well, let's scale it down. This is usually the first thing I like to do. Okay, so we still need to come down. Come way down. Okay, so now our height is scaled with our length. However, this thing is well, very short. It's very short now for the ride height. Either that or the wheels are just complete donks. Okay, so we need to up the height here. Now, are we going to get the height to be that? Absolutely not. Alright, so now we just adjusted the height, so now it looks a little cartoonish in a way. Okay, let's try 3.6. Okay, but it's still really short. And that is a problem because now our wheel wells are very skinny. Not skinny, but they're very tight. So what we need to do, we need to shorten the car. And we are going to do something where we are actually going to shorten the roof line here, and as well extend, well, we're even going to shorten this by extending the wheel arches this way. So let's start with the roof. So as we see here, we got two nice lines going down the center here. We're going to start with this one here first. Now you can also do this with lengthening the car as well, but I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to lengthen it. Why did I miss that? Did we get everything, actually? Looks like it. Okay, so what we're going to do, now we need to keep the flow of this roof going. So we're going to bring this back a bit. We'll call it there. And now we are going to pick our line here. Ooh, I can feel the copyright strike just from the news playing in the background. Thank you, fam. Okay, so that keeps the curvature of the roof going pretty good. And as you can see, we shortened it quite a bit. So what we do is now we go back to our scaling and we up the scaling. Ooh, yeah, I can definitely feel the news is going to be picked up through the mic here. Da, 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 you can't hear me news. Okay. So now we're getting pretty on par. Our length is almost to the same scale as our height. That's doing pretty good. Now, let's take this a step further. Instead of shortening the roof more, what we're going to do is we are going to shorten the wheel well. We're going to lengthen the wheel wells, which then shortens that whole line right here. Whoop. Select. We could even play a little bit with the scaling in the Y direction. Okay. And then same goes for the back. Scale Y. Stretch that out. Okay, so what was the purpose of that? Well, not only do we make our wheel arches bigger, but we can afford to scale it in the length more, so then the wheels go back to the center. So, let's do that. Okay, I'd say now we're actually pretty dead on with our height. So not only does it not look like a complete Frankenstein because of that, it actually looks pretty good. Now, we can also, if we want, up our height just a hair to be a little closer with the width. So then our circles, like our headlight here, are more circular. And there we go. And then obviously, if you want to lower it and such, there's that. Okay, one other thing I want to put in here is that because classic muscle cars seem to have very small front ends, this one is no stranger to that. So we need to increase the front. So we're going to take a common line here that goes through the entire thing. We're even going to be grabbing our badge. And we're just going to stretch that out. Now, what's the purpose of this? This is so then, because most RC cars of this have a front clip slot that goes right here. And even though this one has a certain clip on it that's made for very short front ends, still need to stretch it out a bit, actually. And you know what we can also do along with this? We can grab this because of how it curves in. Because of how it curves in from wide to skinny, the tire has to be able to turn still. So by grabbing that and stretching it out, even though it does look like we kind of ruin our having the wheel in the middle again, but this is kind of necessary to have the wheel to be able to turn. So there we go. Okay, so I'm going to file save this as a disposable again. Okay, so now we have that. Actually, save. We're going to then export this. Export as an STL, disposer. Now we're going to open back up the high poly. And we are then going to import. I should have paid attention to the numbers. I think they were at 3.6, right? Yeah. Okay. Import STL, the disposal file. And what we're going to do is we're going to put, I think it was what? Well, this I know is 70. And this was 1.36. 1.36. And then I'm going to drag it up. I'll drag it up. Okay, so this car right here is using the exact same scaling numbers that we used. And, well, let's see, can I smoothen that to make it, yeah, I can, to make it look a little nicer. So, not only from our base standpoint is our wheelbase shorter. Actually, I can flip it around like that. Yeah, our wheelbase is much shorter here, where the centering used to be right here. If we go straight up from that, our wheel is, yeah, jammed right back there. And because we didn't touch anything with the back, these two are already aligned. Well, technically we did adjust the back. Actually, going to cheat a little, actually. So if I have the alignment of that right up against the line, and I were to take this and do the same, put it right there. Okay, so yeah, these two match up here, but as we can see, this is drug up just slightly. So then it moves our center of wheel towards the front a little, so then we can have that shorter chassis. Same goes for this right here. Our wheel would just be crammed in there, let alone. And plus also, if we actually move this over, it looks like our end line here is just slightly behind the original there, so we deeply increased the size of our wheel well. And then, oh god, rip cough, I'm dying, coronavirus. Don't say that. That's gonna make the video get immediately pulled. But then, I don't know if you can tell, but we did also shorten the door line here. A real good eye will be able to catch that one initially. But alright, that is that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new for more Blender tutorials. I like to make more actual 3D printing videos, but yeah, that's kind of hard to do. So, I'll try my best at those, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!